My friend Sarah has bought a painting. It's a canvas about 5 foot by 4, white. The background is white, and if you screw up your eyes, you can make out some fine white diagonal lines. Sarah is one of my oldest friends. Well, she's done very well for herself. She's a dermatologist, and she's really into art. On Monday, I went to see the painting. Sarah had actually got a hold of it on Saturday, but she'd been lusting after it for several months. This white painting with white lines. Expensive?
200,000.
200,000.
Jean Delany would take it off my hands for 220.
Who's that?
Delany?
I never heard of him.
Jean Delany, the Delany Gallery.
The Delany Gallery would take it off your hands for 220.
Well, not the gallery. Him, Delany himself, for his own collection.
Well, then why didn't Delany buy it?
Well, it's important for them to sell to private clients. I mean, that's how the market circulates. Well? You're not in the right place. Look at it. Look at it from this angle.
Well,
can you see the lines?
What's the name of the
Antrios.
Well known?
Very, very.
Sarah, you haven't bought this painting for $200,000.
You don't understand. That's what it costs. It's an Antrios.
You haven't bought this painting for $200,000.
I might have known you'd miss the point.
You paid $200,000 for this shit?
My friend Marcy is an intelligent enough woman. I've always valued our relationship. She has a good job. She's an aeronautical engineer. But she's one of those new style intellectuals who are not only enemies of modernism, but seem to take some sort of incomprehensible pride in running it down. In recent years, these nostalgia merchants have become quite breathtakingly arrogant. What do you mean, this shit?
Oh, Sarah, where's your sense of humor? Why aren't you laughing? It's fantastic you buying this painting.
I don't care how fantastic you think it is. I don't mind if you laugh, but I would like to know what you mean by this shit.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. By whose standards is it shit? If you call something shit, you need to have some criterion to judge it by.
Who are you talking to? Who do you think you're talking to? Hello.
You have no interest whatsoever in contemporary painting. You never have. This field about which you know absolutely nothing, so how can you assert that any given object which conforms to laws you don't understand is shit?
Because it is. It's shit. I'm sorry. It's a complete mystery to me, Sarah buying this painting. It's unsettled me. It's filled me with some indefinable unease. Oh, when I left her place, I had to take 3 capsules of Gelsemium 9C, which Paul recommended. Gelsemium or Ignatia, he said. Gelsemium or Ignatia, which do you prefer? I mean, how the hell should I know? Because I couldn't begin to understand how Sarah, my friend, could have bought that picture. $200,000. I mean, she's comfortably off, but she's hardly rolling in money. Comfortable, that's all, just comfortable. And she spends $200,000 on a white painting. Oh, I have to go see Yvonne. She's a friend of ours. I have to discuss this with Yvonne. Now, mind you, Yvonne's a very tolerant woman, which, of course, when it comes to relationships, is the worst thing you can be. Yvonne's very tolerant because she couldn't care less. If Yvonne tolerates the fact that Sarah has spent $200,000 on some piece of white shit, it's because she couldn't care less about Sarah, obviously.
I'm Yvonne. I'm a bit tense at the moment because having spent my entire life in textiles, I found a new job as a sales agent for a wholesale stationery business. People like me, but my professional life has always been a disaster. And I'm getting married in 2 weeks. He's a lovely, intelligent guy from a good family. Oh.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for the top to my pen.
All right, that's enough.
I had it in my hand 5 minutes ago.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
Why? Just forget about it. Buy another one.
It's a felt tip. They're special. They'll write on anything. Objects, they just infuriate me. I can't tell you how much they infuriate me. I had it in my hand 5 minutes ago.
Are you going to live here?
Do you think it's suitable for a young couple?
Young couple?
Try not to laugh like that in front of Charlie.
How's the stationery business?
All right, I guess. I'm learning.
Lost weight.
A little. I'm pissed off about that top. It'll dry up. Oh, man. Oh, sit down.
If you go on looking for that top, I am leaving.
Okay, I'll stop. Do you want something to drink?
Ooh, a Perrier if you have one. So, have you seen Sarah lately?
No, have you?
Yesterday.
Is she well?
Oh, very. She just bought a painting.
Oh, yes. Nice.
White.
White.
White. Now, imagine a canvas about 5 foot by 4 with a white background, completely white, in fact, with fine white diagonal stripes, and maybe another horizontal white stripe towards the bottom.
How can you see them?
What?
These white lines. If the background's white, how can you see the lines?
You just can. I suppose the lines are slightly gray or vice versa. Or there are degrees of white. There's more than one kind of white.
Well, don't get upset. Why are you getting so upset?
Immediately you start quibbling. Can you just let me finish?
All right, go on.
Right. So you have an idea of what the painting looks like.
I think so, yes.
Now, you have to guess how much Sarah paid for it.
Who's the painter?
Oh, Antrios. You ever heard of him?
No. Is he fashionable?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Well, it's logical.
No, it isn't logical.
Of course it's logical. You asked me to guess the price. You know very well the price depends on how fashionable the painter might be.
No, I'm not asking you to apply a whole set of critical standards. I'm not asking you for a professional estimate. I'm asking what you, Yvonne, would give for a white painting, gussied up with a few off-white stripes.
Jack shit.
Right. And what about Sarah? Pick a figure at random.
$10,000.
Ha!
50,000?
Ha!
100,000.
Keep going.
150. 200.
200 grand.
No.
Yes.
200 grand?
200 grand.
Has she gone crazy?
Looks like it.
All the same.
What do you mean all the same?
If it makes her happy, she can afford it.
Oh, so that's what you think, is it?
Why? What do you think?
You don't understand the seriousness of this, do you?
No.
Oh, okay. It's strange how you're missing the basic point of this story. All you can see is externals. You don't understand the seriousness of it.
What is the seriousness of it?
Don't you understand what this means?
Do you want to cash you?
Don't you see that suddenly, in some grotesque way, Sarah sees herself as a collector?
Well,
From now on, our friend Sarah is one of the great connoisseurs.
bullshit.
Of course it's bullshit. You can't buy your way in that cheap, but that's what she thinks.
Oh, I see.
And that doesn't bother you.
No, not if it makes her happy.
If it makes her happy, what is that supposed to mean? What sort of philosophy is that if it makes her happy?
Well, as long as it's not doing any harm to anyone else.
But it is. It is doing harm to me. I'm disturbed. I'm disturbed. And more than that, I'm hurt. Yes, I am. I'm fond of Sarah. And to see her let herself be ripped off and lose every ounce of discernment through sheer snobbery.
I don't know why you're so surprised. She's always haunted galleries like crazy. She's always been an exhibition freak.
Oh, she's always been a freak, but a freak with a sense of humor. You see, basically, what really upsets me is that you can't have a laugh with her anymore.
I'm sure you can.
You can't.
Have you tried?
Well, of course I tried. I laughed heartily. What do you think I did? She didn't crack a smile. Although 200 grand, that's kind of an expensive laugh.
Yes. I'll make her laugh.
Oh, I'd be amazed. Any more nuts?
She'll laugh. You'll see.
Okay.
And you get along with the in-laws?
Wonderfully. As far as they are concerned, I'm some buffoon tottering from one dodgy job to another. And now I'm groping my way into the world of vellum. This thing on my hand, what is it? Is it serious?
No.
Good. So what's new?
Nothing. A lot of work. Exhausted. It's nice to see you. You never call.
I don't like to disturb you.
You're joking. You just speak to my secretary and I'll call you right back.
I suppose so. Your place gets more and more like a nunnery.
Yes. You seen Marcy recently?
Not recently, no. Have you?
2 or 3 days ago.
Is she all right?
Yeah, more or less.
Oh,
No. She's all right.
I talked to her on the phone last week. She seemed all right.
Well, she is. She's all right.
You seem to be implying she wasn't all right.
No. On the contrary, I said she was all right.
More or less, you said.
Yes, more or less all right.
You been out? Seen anything?
No, I can't afford to go out.
Oh?
I'm ruined.
Oh?
Do you want to see something special? Would you like to?
Of course I would. Show me. Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Antrios.
Yes. Yes.
It's a 70s Antrios, worth mentioning. He's going through a similar phase now, but this one's from the 70s.
Yes. Yes. Expensive?
In absolute terms, yes. In fact, no. Do you like it?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
It's plain.
Plain, yes. Yes. And at the same time,
Magnetic.
Yes.
You don't really get the resonance just at the moment.
Well, a bit.
No, you don't. You have to come back in the middle of the day. That resonance you get from something monochromatic, it doesn't really happen under artificial light. Not that it actually is monochromatic.
No. How much was it?
200,000.
Very reasonable.
Very. Crazy or what?
Crazy.
200 grand. Marcy's seeing this painting.
Oh?
Devastated.
Oh?
Yeah, she told me it was shit. A completely inappropriate description.
Absolutely.
You can't call this shit.
No.
No, you can say, I don't get it. I can't grasp it. You can't say it's shit.
You've seen her place.
There's nothing to say. I mean, it's like yours. What I mean is, you couldn't care less.
Her taste is classical. She likes things classical. What do you expect?
She started in with this sardonic laugh. Not a trace of charm, not a trace of humor.
You know, Marcy is moody. There's nothing new about that.
She has no sense of humor. With you, I can laugh. With her, I'm like a block of ice.
It's true. She is a bit gloomy at the moment.
I mean, I don't blame her for not responding to this painting. She hasn't the training. There's a whole apprenticeship you have to go through, which she hasn't, either because she's never wanted to or because she has no particular instinct for it. None of that matters. No, what I blame her for is her tone of voice, her complacency, her tactlessness. I blame her for her insensitivity. I don't blame her for not being interested in modern art. I could care less about that. I like her for other reasons.
And she likes you.
No. I felt it the other day. A kind of condescension, contempt with a really bitter edge.
No, surely not.
Yes. Don't keep trying to smooth things over. Where do you get this urge to be the great reconciler of the human race? Why don't you admit that Marcy is atrophying? She hasn't already atrophied.
We had a laugh.
You had a laugh.
We had a laugh. Both of us. We had a laugh. I promise you on Charlie's life. We had a good laugh. Both of us together.
You told her it was shit and you had a good laugh.
No, I didn't tell her it was shit. We laughed spontaneously.
Oh, you arrived, you looked at the painting and you laughed, and then she laughed.
Yes, if you like. We talked a bit, then it was more or less as you described.
A genuine laugh, was it?
Perfectly genuine.
Well then, I've made a mistake. Good. I'm really pleased to hear it.
It was even better than you think. It was Sarah who laughed first.
It was Sarah who laughed first.
Yes.
She laughed first and you joined in.
Yes.
But what made her laugh?
She laughed because she sensed I was about to laugh. If you like, she laughed to put myself at my ease.
No. It doesn't count if she laughed first. If she laughed first, it was to diffuse your laughter. It means it wasn't a genuine laugh.
It was a genuine laugh.
Well, it may have been a genuine laugh, but it wasn't for the right reason.
What is the right reason? I'm confused.
She wasn't laughing because her painting is ridiculous. You and she weren't laughing for the same reasons. You were laughing at the painting, and she was laughing to ingratiate herself, to put herself on your wavelength, to show that on top of being an aesthete who can spend more money on a painting than you earn in a year, she's still your same old subversive friend who likes a good laugh.
Mm-hmm. You know.
Yes?
This is going to amaze you.
Go on.
I didn't like the painting, but I actually didn't hate it.
Well, of course. You can't hate what's invisible. You can't hate nothing.
No, it has something.
What do you mean?
It has something. It's not nothing.
You're joking.
I'm not as harsh as you. It's a work of art. There's a system behind it.
A system.
A system.
What system?
It's the completion of a journey. It wasn't painted by accident. It's a work of art which stakes its claim as about trajectory.
No!
All right, laugh.
You're parroting all of Sarah's nonsense. From her, it's heartbreaking. From you, it's just comical.
You know, Marcy, this smugness, you want to watch out for it. You're getting bitter, and it's not very attractive.
Good. The older I get, the more offensive I hope to become.
Great.
A system.
You're impossible to talk to.
There's a system behind it. Oh, you look at this piece of shit, but never mind. There's a system behind it. Well, you think there's a system behind this landscape? No. Too evocative, too expressive. Oh, everything's on the canvas. No scope for a system.
I'm glad you're enjoying yourself.
One look. Speak for yourself, okay? Describe your feelings to me.
I felt a resonance.
You felt a resonance.
You're denying that I'm capable of appreciating this painting on my own account.
Of course I am.
Well, why?
Because I know you. Because apart from you being disastrously open-minded, you're quite sane.
I wish I could say the same for you.
Yvonne, look me in the eye.
I'm looking at you.
Were you moved by Sarah's painting?
No.
Answer me this. You're getting married tomorrow, and you and Charlie get this painting as a wedding present. Does it make you happy? Does it make you happy?
Of course it doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me happy, but generally speaking, I'm not the sort of person who can say, I'm happy, just like that. I'm trying to think of an occasion when I could have said, yes, I'm happy. Are you happy to be getting married? My mother stupidly asked me one day. Are you at least happy to be getting married? Why wouldn't I be, Mother? What do you mean, why wouldn't I be? You're either happy or you're not happy. What's why wouldn't I be got to do with it?
As far as I'm concerned, it's not white. When I say as far as I'm concerned, I mean objectively. Objectively speaking, it's not white. It has a white background with a whole range of grays. I mean, there's even some red in it. You could say it's very pale. I wouldn't like it if it was white. I mean, Marcy thinks it's white. That's her limit. Marcy thinks it's white because she's got hung up on the idea that it's white. Unlike Yvonne. Yvonne can see that it isn't white. Marcy can think what she likes. What do I care?
Obviously, I should have taken the Ignatia. Why do I have to be so categorical? What possible difference could it make to me if Sarah lets herself be taken in by modern art? I mean, it is a serious matter. But I could have found some other way to put it to her. I could have taken a less aggressive tone, even if it makes me physically ill, that my best friend has bought a white painting. All the same, I ought to avoid attacking her about it. I have to be nicer. From now on, I'm going to be on my best behavior.
Feel like a laugh?
Go on.
Yvonne liked the Antrios.
Where is it?
You want another look?
Ooh, let me see it.
Oh, I knew you'd come round to it. Yvonne got it right away. All right, listen. It's just a picture. We don't have to get bogged down with it. Life is too short.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, have you read this? Read it. It's a masterpiece. Incredibly modern. Read that. You don't need to read anything else. What with the office, the hospital, Frank, who's now decreed I'm to see the children every weekend, which is something new for Frank, the notion that children need their mother. I don't have time to read anymore. I'm obliged to go straight for the essentials.
Oh, as in painting, where you've ingeniously eliminated form and color. Those old chestnuts.
Yes. Although I'm still capable of appreciating more figurative work, like your Flemish job, very restful.
What's Flemish about it? It's a view of Carcassonne.
Yes, but I mean, well, it's slightly Flemish in style. You know, the fields, the view, in any case, it's very pretty.
That's not worth anything, you know.
What difference does that make? Anyway, in a few years, God knows if the entrails will be worth anything.
You know, I've been thinking, and I've changed my mind. You know, the other day, driving across town, I was thinking about you, and I said to myself, isn't there deep down something really poetic about what Sarah has done? Isn't surrendering to this incoherent urge to buy, in fact, an authentically poetic impulse?
You are very conciliatory today. Unrecognizable. What's this bland, submissive tone of voice? Doesn't suit you at all, by the way.
No, I'm trying to explain. I'm apologizing.
Apologizing? What for?
I'm too thin-skinned. I'm too highly strung. I overreact. You could say I lack judgment.
Read Seneca.
That's it. See, for instance, you say read Seneca, and I could easily have gotten annoyed. I'm quite capable of being really annoyed by you saying that to me, and in the course of our conversation, say read Seneca, which is absurd.
No, it's not absurd.
Really?
No, because you thought you could identify.
I didn't say I was annoyed.
Well, you said you could easily.
Yes, I could easily.
Yeah. Yes, and I understand that, because when I said read Seneca, you thought you could identify a kind of superiority. You tell me you lack judgment, and my answer is read Seneca. Well, it's obnoxious.
It is a little bit.
Yeah, having said that, though, it's true you do lack judgment, because I didn't say read Seneca. I said read Seneca.
You're right. You're right.
The fact of the matter is, you've quite simply lost your sense of humor.
Probably.
Yeah, you've lost your sense of humor, Marcy. You really have lost your sense of humor, my friend. When I was talking to Yvonne the other day, we'd agreed. You lost your sense of humor. Where the hell is she? You know, she is incapable of being on time. It's infuriating. We'll miss the beginning.
Yvonne thinks I've lost my sense of humor.
Well, Yvonne agrees with me that recently you've somewhat lost your sense of humor.
The last time you saw each other, Yvonne said she liked your painting very much, and I'd lost my sense of humor.
Yes, the painting, really, very much. She meant it. What is that you're eating?
Ignatia.
Oh, you believe in homeopathy now?
I don't believe in anything.
Didn't you think Yvonne had lost a lot of weight?
Ooh, so's he.
Yeah, it's the wedding. It's eating away at them.
Yes. Oh, he's all right. So, where are you going to put it?
Oh, I haven't decided. There or there. Too ostentatious? No.
No, why not?
Well, it's not supposed to be framed.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the artist doesn't want it be. It mustn't be interrupted. It's already in its setting. Look, you see? Right here.
What is that? Adhesive tape?
No. It's a kind of craft paper made up by the artist.
It's funny the way you say the artist.
What else am I supposed to say?
Well, you say the artist when you could say the painter or whatever his name is, Antrios.
So?
But you say the artist as if he's sort of, anyway, doesn't matter. What are we seeing? Let's try to see something with a little substance for once.
You know, it's 8:00. Everything will have started. I cannot imagine how this woman, who has nothing whatsoever to do, am I right, manages to be late every single time. Where the fuck is she?
Well, let's just have dinner.
All right. It is 8:05. We said we'd meet between 7 and 7:30. What do you mean the way I said the artist?
Nothing. I was going to say something stupid.
Well, go on.
Well, you said the artist as if he's some unattainable being. The artist, some sort of god.
Well, for me, he is a god. You don't think I'd have forked out a fortune for a mere mortal?
I see.
I went to MoMA on Monday. Do you know how many antrioses they have at MoMA? 3! 3 antrioses at MoMA!
Amazing.
And mine's as good as any of them, if not better. All right, listen. I have a suggestion. Let's give Yvonne exactly 3 more minutes and then just leave. I found a very good new place, Lyonnaise.
Why are you so jumpy?
I'm not jumpy.
Yes, you are jumpy.
I am not jumpy. Well, all right, I am jumpy because this slackness is intolerable, this inability to practice any kind of self-discipline.
The fact is, I'm getting on your nerves and you're taking it out on poor old Yvonne.
What do you mean, poor old Yvonne? Are you kidding me? You're not getting on my nerves? Why should you be getting on my nerves? She's getting on my nerves. It's true. She's getting on my nerves. It's this ingratiating tone of voice, a little smile behind every word. It's as if she is forcing herself to be pleasant. Don't be pleasant. Whatever you do, don't be pleasant. Could it be buying the Antrios? Could buying the Antrios have triggered this feeling of constraint between us? Buying something without her approval? Well, screw her approval. Screw your approval, Marcy!
Could it be the Antrios? Buying the Antrios? No. It started some time ago. To be precise, it started on the day we were discussing some work of art and you uttered quite seriously the word deconstruction. Well, it wasn't so much the word deconstruction, which upset me. It was the air of solemnity you imbued it with. You said humorlessly, unapologetically, without a trace of irony, the word deconstruction. You, lady, I wasn't sure how to deal with it. So I just made this throwaway remark. I said, I think I must be getting intolerant in my old age. And you answered, who do you think you are? What makes you so high and mighty? What gives you the right to set yourself apart? Sarah answered in the shittiest way possible and quite unexpectedly. You're just Marcy. What makes you think you're so special? Oh, that day, I should have just punched her in the mouth. And while she was lying there on the ground, half dead, I should have said to her, you're supposed to be my friend. What sort of friend are you, Sarah, if you don't think your friends are special? Lyonnaise, did you say? Bit heavy, isn't it? All those sausages. What do you think?
12 minutes past 8.
So a crisis, insoluble problem, major crisis. Both stepmothers want their names on the wedding invitation. Charlie adores his stepmother, who more or less brought him up. He wants her name on the invitation. He wants it, and his stepmother is not anticipating, which is totally understandable since the mother is dead, not appearing next to Charlie's father, whereas my stepmother, whom I detest, it's out of the question that her name should appear on the invitation. But my father won't have his name on it unless hers isn't, unless Charlie's stepmother's name is left off, which is completely unacceptable. I suggested none of the parents' names should be on it. After all, we're not adolescents. So Charlie yelled his head off, arguing that it would be a slap in the face for his parents who were paying through the nose for the reception, and particularly for his stepmother, who's gone to so much trouble when he isn't even her son. And I finally let myself be persuaded, totally against my better judgment, because he wore me down. I finally agreed that my stepmother, whom I detest, who's a complete bitch, will have her name on the invitation. So I telephoned my mother to warn her. I said, I've done everything I can to avoid this, but we have absolutely no choice. Colette's name has to be on the invitation. She said, if Colette's name is on the invitation, take mine off. Mother, I said, I beg you, don't make things even more difficult. And she said, how dare you suggest my name is left to float around on the card on its own as if I was some abandoned woman below Colette who will be clamped onto your father's surname like a limpet. I said to her, Mother, I have friends waiting for me. I'm going to hang up and we'll discuss all this tomorrow after a good night's sleep. And she said, why is it I'm always an afterthought? What are you talking about, Mother? You're not always an afterthought. Of course I am. And when you say don't make things even more difficult, what you mean is everything's already been decided. Everything's already been organized without me. Everything's already been cooked up behind my back. Good old Nadia. She'll agree to anything. And all this, she said, in aid of an event, the importance of which I'm having some trouble grasping. Mother, I have friends waiting for me. Oh, that's right. There's always something better to do. Anything's more important than I am. Goodbye. And she hung up. Charlie, who was next to me, but who hadn't heard her side of the conversation, said, what did she say? I said, she doesn't want her name on the invitation with Colette, which is understandable. I'm not talking about that. What was it she said about the wedding? Nothing. You're lying. I'm not, Charlie, I promise you. She just doesn't want her name on the invitation with Colette. Call her back and tell her when your daughter's getting married, you rise above your vanity. You could say the same thing to your stepmother. That's got nothing to do with it, Charlie shouted. It's me. I'm the one who's insisting her name's on it. It's not her, poor thing. She's tact personified. If she had any idea of the problem this is causing, she'd be down on her knees begging for her name to be taken off the invitation. Now call your mother. So I called her again. By now I'm in shreds. Charlie's listening in on the extension. Yvonne, my mother says, up to now, you've conducted your affairs in the most chaotic way imaginable. And just because out of the blue, you've decided to embark on matrimony, I find myself obliged to spend all afternoon and evening with your father, a man I haven't seen for 17 years, and to whom I was not expecting to have to reveal my hip size and my puffy cheeks, not to mention Colette, who incidentally, I may tell you, according to Felix Perolari, has now taken up bridge. My mother also plays bridge. I can see none of this can be helped, but on the invitation, the one item everyone is going to receive and examine, I insist on making a solo appearance. Charlie's listening on the extension, shakes his head and screws up his face in disgust. Mother, I say, why are you so selfish? I'm not selfish, Yvonne. You're not going to start as well. You're not going to be like Mrs. Romero this morning and tell me that I have a heart of stone, that everybody in our family has a heart of stone, that everybody in our family has a heart of stone. That's what Mrs. Romero said this morning when I refused to raise her wages. She's gone completely mad. By the way, to $60 an hour tax-free, she had the gall to say everyone in the family had a heart of stone when she knows very well about poor Andre's pacemaker. You haven't even bothered to drop him a line. Yes, that's right. Very funny. Everything's a joke to you. It's not me who's the selfish one, Yvonne. You've still got a lot to learn about life. Off you go, girlie. Go on and see your precious friends.
Then what?
Then nothing. Nothing's been resolved. I hung up. Mini drama with Charlie cut short because I was late.
Why do you let yourself be pushed around by all these relatives?
Why do I let myself be pushed around? I don't know. They're all insane.
You've lost weight.
Of course I have. 10 pounds purely through stress.
Read Seneca.
The happy life, just what I need. What's he suggest?
It's a masterpiece.
Oh?
She hasn't read it.
Oh.
No, but Sarah just told me it was a masterpiece.
I said it was a masterpiece because it is a masterpiece.
Right.
It is a masterpiece.
Why are you getting annoyed?
Well, you seem to be insinuating I use the word masterpiece any chance I get.
Not at all.
You said the word in a kind of sarcastic way.
Not at all.
Yes, the word masterpiece in a kind of...
Is she crazy? Not at all. However, when you use the word, you qualified it by saying incredibly modern.
Yes, so?
You said incredibly modern, as if modern was the highest compliment you could give. As if when describing something, you couldn't think of anything more admirable, more profoundly admirable than modern.
So
nothing. And please note, I made no mention of the word incredibly modern.
you are really bugging me today.
No, I'm not.
You're not going to fight all evening. That was just about finish me.
You don't think it's extraordinary that a man who wrote nearly 2,000 years ago should still be completely up to date?
No, of course not. That's the definition of a classic.
You're just playing with words.
So what are we going to do? I suppose we can forget about the movies. Sorry. Do you want to go eat?
Sarah tells me you're very taken with her painting.
Yes, I am quite taken with it. Yes. You're not, I gather.
No, let's go and eat somewhere. Sarah knows a tasty spot, Lyonnaise.
You think the food's too fatty.
I think the food's a bit on the fatty side, but I don't mind giving it a whirl.
No. If you think the food's too fatty, we'll go somewhere else.
No, I don't mind giving it a whirl.
We'll go to the restaurant if you think you'll like it. If not, we won't. Do you like Lyonnaise food?
I'll do whatever you like.
She'll do whatever you like. Whatever you like, she'll always do.
What's the matter with you? You're both behaving very strangely.
Well, she's right. You might once in a while have an opinion of your own.
Listen, if you think you're going to use me as your punching bag, I'm out of here. I put up with enough today.
Where's your sense of humor, Yvonne?
What?
Where's your sense of humor, girl?
Where's my sense of humor? I don't see anything to laugh at. Where's my sense of humor? Are you trying to be funny?
I think recently you've somewhat lost your sense of humor. You better watch that, believe me.
What's the matter with you?
Don't you think recently I've also somewhat lost my sense of humor?
Oh, I see.
All right. That's enough. Let's make a decision. Tell you the truth, I'm not even hungry.
You're both really sinister this evening.
Do you want my opinion about your wedding invitation problems?
Go on.
In my view, the most out of control of them all is Charlie. By far.
No question.
And if you're already letting yourself be bullied by him, you are in for a hideous future.
What can I do?
Cancel it.
Cancel the wedding?
She's right.
But I can't. Are you crazy?
Why not?
Well, because I can't. I can't, that's all. It's all arranged. I've only been working at the stationery business for a month.
What's that got to do with it?
It's his uncle's stationery business. He had absolutely no need to take on anyone, least of all someone who's only ever worked in textiles.
Do what you like. I've told you what I think.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I don't mean to be rude, but you're not necessarily the person I'd come to for matrimonial advice. You can't claim to have been a great success in that field.
Precisely.
I can't back out of the wedding. I know Charlie is a maniac, but he has his good points. There are certain crucial qualities you need when you're marrying someone like me. Where are you going to put it?
I don't know yet.
Why didn't you put it there?
Because there, it would be wiped out by the sunlight.
Oh, yes. I thought of you today at the shop. We ran off 500 posters by this guy who paints white flowers, totally white, on a white background.
The Antrios is not white.
No, of course not. I was just saying.
You think this painting is not white, Yvonne?
No, not entirely. No.
Ah, then what color is it?
Various colors. There's yellow, there's gray, some slightly ochreish lines.
And you're moved by these colors.
Yes, I'm moved by these colors.
You have no substance, Yvonne. You are spineless. You're an amoeba.
Why are you attacking Yvonne like this?
Oh, because she's a little ass kisser. She's obsequious, dazzled by money, dazzled by what she believes to be culture. And as you know, culture is something I absolutely piss on.
What has gotten into you?
How could you, Yvonne? Huh? And in front of me, Yvonne.
What do you mean in front of you? What do you mean in front of you? I find these colors touching. Yes, If it's all the same to you, stop wanting to control everything.
How could you say in front of me that you find these colors touching?
Because it's the truth.
The truth. You find these colors touching.
Yes, I find these colors touching.
You find these colors touching, Yvonne.
She finds these colors touching. She's perfectly entitled to.
No, she's not entitled to.
What do you mean she's not entitled to?
He's not entitled to.
I'm not entitled to?
No.
Why is she not entitled to? I don't think you're very well. Perhaps you want to go see someone.
She's not entitled to say she finds these colors touching because she doesn't.
I don't find these colors touching.
There are no colors. You can't see them, and you don't find them touching.
Speak for yourself.
This is really demeaning, Yvonne.
Who do you think you are, Marcy? Who are you to legislate? You don't like anything. You despise everyone. You take pride in not being a woman of your time.
What's that supposed to mean, a woman of my time?
Okay, I'm leaving.
Where are you going?
I'm leaving. I don't see why I have to put up with your tantrums.
Don't go. You're not going to start taking offense, are you? If you go, you're just giving in to her. A woman of her time is a woman who lives in her own time.
Bullshit. How can a woman live in any other time but her own? Answer me that.
A woman of her time is someone of whom it can be said in 20 years or 100 years' time, she was representative of her era.
To what end?
What do you mean, to what end?
What use is it to me if one day somebody says I was representative of my era?
Listen, sweetheart, we are not talking about you. If you can imagine such a thing, we don't give a shit about you. A woman of her time, I'm trying to explain to you, like most people you admire, is someone who makes some contribution to the human race. A woman of her time does not assume the history of art has come to an end with a pseudo-Flemish view of Cavillon.
Carcassonne.
Same thing. A woman of her time plays a part in the fundamental dynamic of evolution.
Oh, and that's a good thing in your view.
It's not good or bad. Why do you always have to moralize? It's just the way things are.
And you, for example, you play a part in the fundamental dynamic of evolution?
I do.
What about Yvonne?
Surely not. What sort of a part can an amoeba play?
In her way, Yvonne is a woman of her time.
How can you tell? Not from that motel painting hanging over her mantelpiece.
That is not a motel painting.
It is a motel painting.
It is not.
What's the difference? Yvonne represents a certain way of life, a way of thinking, which is completely modern. And so do you. I'm sorry, but you're a typical woman of your time. And in fact, the harder you try not to be, the more you are.
Well, that's all right then. So what's the problem?
There is no problem, except for you, because you take pride in your desire to shut yourself off from humanity. And you'll never manage it. It's like you're in quicksand, and the more you struggle to get out of it, the deeper you sink. Now apologize to Yvonne.
Yvonne is a coward. Oh.
Well done.
It wasn't a good idea to meet this evening, was it? I better go as well.
Maybe.
Right.
You are the coward, attacking someone who's incapable of defending herself, as you well know.
You're right. You're right. And when you put it like that, it makes me feel even worse. The thing is, all of a sudden, I can't understand. I have no idea what Yvonne and I have in common. I have no idea what my relationship with her consists of.
Yvonne has always been what she is.
No, she used to be eccentric, kind of absurd. She was always unstable, but her eccentricity was disarming.
What about me?
What about you?
Have you any idea what you and I have in common?
Ooh, that's a question that could take us down a very long road.
Lead on.
I'm sorry I upset Yvonne.
Oh, at last you've said something approximately human. What makes it worse is that motel painting she has hanging over her mantelpiece was, I'm afraid, painted by her father.
Was it? Shit.
Yes.
Well, you said.
I know. I remembered as soon as I'd said it.
Oh, shit. Ugh.
Yvonne returns. The elevator was full. I plunged off down the stairs, clattering all the way down, thinking, a coward, an amoeba, no substance. I thought, I'll come back with a gun and blow her head off. Then she'll see how substantial and obsequious I am. I got to the ground floor and I said to myself, listen, girl, you haven't been in therapy for 6 years to finish up shooting your best friend. And you haven't been in therapy for 6 years without learning that some deep melees must be behind her insane aggression. So I relaunched myself, telling myself as I mount the penitential stair, this is a cry for help. I have to help Marcy if it's the last thing I do. In fact, the other day I discussed you both with Finkel's on.
You discussed us with Finkel's on?
I discuss everything with Finkel's on.
And why exactly were you discussing us?
I forbid you to discuss me with that asshole.
You're in no position to forbid me anything.
Why were you discussing us?
I knew your relationship was under strain and I wanted Finkel's on to explain.
And what did the bastard say?
He said something rather amusing.
Oh, they're allowed to give their opinions?
No, they never give their opinions, but this time he did give his opinion. He even made a gesture, and he never makes a gesture. He's always rigid. I sometimes say to him, for God's sakes, move about a bit.
All right, what did he say?
Oh, who gives a fuck what he said?
What did he say?
What possible interest could we have in what he said?
I want to know what the bastard said, all right? Shit.
You want to know?
You took notes?
I wrote it down because it was complicated. Shall I read it to you?
Go on.
If I'm who I am, because I'm who I am, and you're who you are because you're who you are, then I'm who I am and you're who you are. If, on the other hand, I'm who I am because you're who you are, and if you're who you are because I'm who I am, then I'm not who I am, and you're not who you are. You can see why I had to write it down.
How much do you pay this man?
$150 a session twice a week.
Great.
And in cash. I found something out. They don't allow you to pay by check. Freud said you have to feel the bills as they slip through your fingers.
How lucky you are to be getting the benefit of this fellow's experience.
Absolutely. We'd really appreciate it if you'd copy that out for us.
Yes, it's bound to come in handy.
You're wrong. It's very profound.
If it's because of him you've come back to turn the other cheek, you should be grateful to him. He's turned you into a pudding, but you're happy, and that's all that counts.
And all this because she doesn't want to believe I like your antrios.
I don't give a fuck what you think about it. Either of you.
The more I see it, the more I like it, honestly.
Let's just stop talking about the painting, shall we, once and for all? I have no interest in discussing it further.
Why are you so touchy?
I'm not touchy, Marcy. You've told us what you think. Fine. Subject is closed.
You're getting upset.
I'm not getting upset. I'm exhausted.
You see, if you're touchy about it, it means you're too caught up in other people's opinions.
I'm exhausted, Marcy. This is completely pointless. To tell you the truth, I'm very close to getting bored with both of you.
Let's go and eat.
Yeah, you go. Why don't you go off together?
Ooh.
No, it's so rare that the three of us are together.
Yeah, just as well by the look of it.
I don't understand what's going on. Can't we just calm down? There's no reason to insult each other, especially over a painting.
Do you realize that all this calm down and waving the white flag is just adding fuel to the fire? Is this something new?
I will not be undermined.
Ooh, this is most impressive. Perhaps I should go to Finkel's on.
You can't. There are no vacancies. What's that you're eating?
Gelsemium.
I've given into the logic of events, marriage, children, death. Stationary. What can go wrong?
We're not worthy to look at it?
Exactly.
Oh, or are you afraid that if it stays in my presence, you'll end up looking at it through my eyes?
No. You know what Paul Valéry says, and I'd go quite a bit further.
I don't give a fuck what Paul Valéry says.
You've gone off Paul Valéry?
Don't quote Paul Valéry at me.
But you used to love Paul Valéry.
I don't give a fuck what Paul Valéry says.
But I discovered him through you. You were the one who turned me on to Paul Valéry.
Don't quote Paul Valéry at me. I don't give a fuck what Paul Valéry says.
Well, what do you give a fuck about?
I give a fuck about you buying that painting. I give a fuck about you spending 200 grand on that piece of shit.
Don't start again, Marcy.
All right, I'm going to tell you what I give a fuck about. Since everyone is coming clean, I give a fuck about your sniggering and insinuations, your suggestions that I also think this picture is a grotesque joke. You've denied that I could feel a genuine attachment to it. You've tried to set up some kind of loathsome complicity between us. And that's what's made me feel, Marcy, to repeat your expression, that we have less and less in common recently. Your perpetual display of suspicion.
It's true. I can't imagine you genuinely loving that painting.
But why?
But why?
Because I love Sarah. And I can't love the Sarah who's capable of buying that painting.
Why do you say buying? Why don't you say loving?
Because I can't say loving. I cannot believe loving.
Well, why would I buy it if I didn't love it?
That's the nub of the question.
Do you see how smug she is? I am trying to be straightforward with her, and her answer is this serenely pompous, heavy hint. And it never crossed your mind for a second, however improbable it might seem, that I might really love it? And that your vicious, inflexible opinions and your vile assumption of complicity might be hurtful to me?
No.
When you asked me what I thought of Paul, a man who once spent an entire dinner party maintaining Ehlers-Danlos syndrome could be cured homeopathically, did I say I found him ugly, repellent, and charmless? I could have.
Is that what you think of Paul?
What's your theory?
No, of course she doesn't think that. You couldn't possibly think that of Paul.
Answer me.
You see what effect you can have.
Do you think what you just said about Paul?
Worse, actually.
No.
Worse, Sarah? Worse than repellent? Will you explain how someone can be worse than repellent?
Oh, when it's something that concerns you personally, I see words can bite a little deeper.
Sarah, will you explain how someone can be worse than repellent?
No need to take that frosty tone. Perhaps it's... Let me try and answer you. Perhaps it's the way he waves away cigarette smoke.
The way he waves away cigarette smoke.
Yes, the way he waves away cigarette smoke. What appears to you a gesture of no significance, what you think of as a harmless gesture, is in fact the opposite. And the way he waves away cigarette smoke sits right at the heart of his repellentness.
You're speaking to me of Paul, the man who shares my life in these intolerable terms because you disapprove of his method of waving away cigarette smoke?
That's right. His method of waving away cigarette smoke condemns him out of hand.
Sarah, before I completely lose control, you better explain yourself. This is very serious, what you're doing.
A normal man would say, I'm sorry, I find the smoke a bit uncomfortable. Would you mind moving your ashtray? But not him. No, he doesn't deign to speak. He describes his contempt in the air with this calculated gesture, wearily malicious, this hand movement he imagines is imperceptible, the implication of which is to say, go on, smoke, smoke. It's pathetic, but what's the point of calling attention to it? Which means you can't tell if it's you or your cigarette that's getting up his nose.
You're exaggerating.
Oh, you notice she doesn't say I'm wrong. She says I'm exaggerating, but she doesn't say I'm wrong. His method of waving away cigarette smoke reveals a cold, condescending, and narrow-minded nature, just what you are in the process of acquiring yourself. It's a shame, Marcy. It's a real shame you've taken up with such a life-denying man.
Paul is not life denying.
Take back everything you just said, Sarah.
No.
Yes, you must.
Take back what you just said.
Take it back. Take it back. This is ridiculous.
Sarah, for the last time, I demand you take back what you just said.
In my view, the two of you are an aberration, a pair of fossils.
Stop!
Oh, mind your business!
Shit!
Show me.
Oh,
Come on, show me. Oh, it's all right. That's nothing.
oh,
Wait a minute.
oh,
Here, put that on.
oh,
Hold that on that for a while.
you're complete freaks, both of you. Two normal women gone completely insane.
Don't get excited.
That really hurt. If I find out you burst my eardrum.
Oh, of course not.
How do you know? You're not ear, nose, and throat. Two friends, educated people.
Go on, calm down.
You can't demolish someone because you don't like his method of waving away cigarette smoke.
Yes, you can.
But it doesn't make any sense.
What do you know about sense?
Oh, that's right. Attack me. Just keep attacking me. I could be hemorrhaging internally. I just seen a mouse running past.
It's a rat.
A rat?
He comes and goes.
You have a rat?
Don't take the compress away. Leave it where it is.
What's the matter with you? What's happened between you two? Something must have happened for you to go this demented.
I bought a work of art which makes Marcy uncomfortable.
Oh, you're starting again. You're on a downward spiral, both of you. You can't stop yourselves. It's like me and Colette, the most pathological relationship you can imagine.
Who's Colette?
My stepmother.
Long time since you mentioned her.
Why didn't you tell me right away what you thought about Paul?
I didn't want to upset you.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No. When I asked you what you thought of Paul, what you said was he's a perfect match for you.
Yes.
Which seemed quite positive coming from you,
Sure.
given the state you were in.
All right. What are you trying to prove?
Well, but today, your assessment of Paul, in other words, me, is far harsher.
I don't understand.
Well, of course you understand.
I don't.
Since I can no longer support you in your frenzied, though recent craving for novelty, I become condescending and narrow-minded and fossilized.
I'm in agony. It's like a corkscrew drilling through my brain.
Have a drop of brandy.
What do you think? If something's shaken loose in my brain, don't you think alcohol's a bit of a risk?
Would you like an aspirin?
I'm not sure aspirin agrees with me.
Well, then what the hell do you want?
Don't worry about me. Carry on with your preposterous conversation. Don't pay any attention to me.
Easier said than done.
You might squeeze out a drop of compassion, but no.
You know, I don't mind your spending time with Paul. I don't resent you being with Paul.
You've no reason to resent it.
But you resent me. I was about to say being with the Antrios.
Yes!
I am missing something here.
I didn't replace you with Paul.
Are you saying I replaced you with the Antrios?
Yes.
I replaced you with the Antrios?
Yes, with the Andrios and all it implies.
Do you understand what she's talking about?
I couldn't care less. You're both insane.
In my time, you'd never have bought that picture.
What is that supposed to mean in your time?
Well, the time that you made a distinction between me and other people, when you judge things by my standards.
Was there such a time?
Oh, that's just cruel and petty.
No, I assure you, I'm staggered.
And if Yvonne hadn't turned into such a sponge, she'd back me up.
Go on. That's right. I've told you it's water off a duck's back.
See, there was a time you were proud to be my friend. You congratulated yourself on my peculiarity, on my taste for standing apart. Well, you enjoyed exhibiting me untamed to your circle. You, whose life was so normal, I was your alibi. But, well, eventually, I suppose that sort of affection dries up. Belatedly, you claim your independence.
I like belatedly.
But I detest your independence. It's violence. You've abandoned me. I've been betrayed. As far as I'm concerned, you're a traitor.
If I understand correctly, she was my mentor. And if I loved you as my mentor, what was the nature of your feelings?
Well, you can guess.
Yes, but I want to hear you say it.
Well, I enjoyed your admiration. I was flattered. I was always grateful to you for thinking of me as a woman apart. Oh, I even thought being a woman apart was somehow a superior condition until one day you pointed out to me that it wasn't.
This is very alarming.
It's the truth.
What a disaster.
Yeah, what a disaster.
What a disaster.
No, especially for me, whereas you found a new family. Your penchant for idolatry has unearthed new objects of worship. The artist, deconstruction.
What is deconstruction?
Oh, you don't know about deconstruction? Ask Sarah. She's been very much on top of the subject. Oh, come to convince me some ridiculous artwork is comprehensible. You pick a phrase from Builders Weekly. Oh, you're smiling. You see, when you smile like that, I think there's still hope, like an idiot.
Why don't you make up and let's spend an enjoyable evening? All this is ludicrous.
It's my fault. We haven't seen much of one another recently, and I've been away, and you started mixing with the great and the good. The Robsons, the Desperate Couders. Oh, and that dentist, Roger Hallier. He's the one who
No, not at all. He's from another world. He only likes conceptual art.
Oh, it's all the same thing.
No, it is not all the same thing.
Oh, you see? More evidence of how I let you slip away. And now when we talk, we can't even make ourselves understood.
Oh my God, I had no idea. No idea whatsoever. I mean, it's come as a complete surprise. The extent to which I was under your influence. The extent to which you owned me.
Oh, or didn't own you, as it turned out. You should never let your friends be unchaperoned. Your friends need to be chaperoned. Otherwise, they'll get away. Well, look at poor Yvonne, whose chaotic behavior used to delight us. We've allowed her to become this timid stationer, practically married. Oh, she brought us originality. And now she's making every effort to piss it away.
Us? She brought us? Do you realize what you're saying? Everything has to revolve around you. Why can't you love people for themselves, Marcy?
What does that mean, for themselves?
For what they are.
What are they? What are they? Apart from my faith in them. I am desperate to find a friend who has some kind of prior existence. So far, I've had no luck. I've had to mold you. But you see, it never works. There comes a day when your creature has dinner with a Desprez Carduz and to confirm her new status, goes off and buys a white painting.
So, here we are. The end of a 15-year friendship.
Yes.
Pathetic.
You see, if we'd only managed to have a normal discussion, that is, if I'd only been able to express myself without losing my temper.
Well,
Nothing.
go on. Why can't we exchange one single dispassionate word?
Oh, I don't believe in the values which dominate contemporary art. The rule of novelty, the rule of surprise. Surprise is dead meat, Sarah. No sooner conceived than just dead.
All right. So?
Well, that's all. Except my appeal to you has always been my surprise value.
What are you talking about?
The surprise which has lasted quite some time, I'll admit.
Finkelzahn is a genius. I told you he'd understood the whole thing.
Yeah, I prefer if you stopped refereeing, Yvonne, and stopped imagining you're not fully implicated in this conversation.
You want to implicate me? I refuse. What's it to do with me? I've already got a burst eardrum. You work things out for yourselves.
You know, perhaps he does have a burst eardrum. I hit her very hard.
Quit bragging.
See, Yvonne, what I can't bear about you at the moment, quite apart from what I already told you, is your urge to put Sarah and me on the same level. You would like for us to be equal, to indulge your cowardice, talking on an equal footing, equal the way you thought of us when we were friends. But we were never equal, Yvonne. You have to choose.
I have chosen.
Excellent.
I don't need a supporter.
Oh, you're not going to turn the poor girl down.
Why do we see each other? We hate each other's. It's obvious that we do hate each other. Or rather, I don't hate you, but you hate each other and you hate me. So why do we see each other? I was looking forward to a relaxing evening after a ridiculously crazy week, meeting my two best friends, going to the movies, having a laugh, getting away from all these dramas.
Are you aware that you've talked of nothing but yourself?
Well, who are you talking about? Everybody talks about themselves.
God, you fuck up our evening. You come in here and you just...
I fuck up your evening?
Yes!
I fuck up your evening? I fuck up your evening?
All right, don't get excited.
You're saying it's me who's fucked up your evening.
How many more times are you going to say it?
Just answer the question. Are you saying it's me who's fucked up your evening?
You arrived 3/4 of an hour late. You don't apologize. You swamp us with your domestic woes.
And your inertia, your sheer neutral spectator's inertia has lured Marcy and me into the worst excesses.
You as well. You're starting as well.
Yes, because on this subject, I'm entirely in agreement with her. You create the conditions of conflict.
Yet you've been piping up with this finicky, subservient voice of reason ever since you arrived. It's intolerable.
You know, I could burst into tears. I could start crying right now. I'm very close to tears.
Cry.
Cry.
Cry? You're telling me to cry?
You have every reason to cry. You're marrying a maniac. You're losing your two best friends.
That's it then. It's it. It's all over.
You said it yourself. What's the point of seeing each other if we hate each other?
What about my wedding? You're my witnesses, remember?
Find someone else.
I can't. You're on the invitation.
You can choose someone else at the last minute.
You're not allowed to.
Of course you are.
You're not.
Don't panic. We'll come.
But what you ought to do is cancel the wedding.
She's right.
Oh, shit. What have I ever done to you? Shit. It's brutal what you're doing. You could have had your fight after the 12th, but no, you're determined to ruin my wedding, a wedding which is already a catastrophe. which has made me lose 10 pounds, and now you're completely ruining it. The only two people whose presence guaranteed some spark of satisfaction are determined to destroy one another. Just my luck. You think I like packs of Filofax paper or rolls of Scotch tape? You think any normal woman wakes up one morning desperate to sell expandable document wallets? What am I supposed to do? I farted around for 40 years. I made you laugh. Oh, yes, wonderful. I made all my friends laugh their heads off playing the fool. But in the evening, who was left solitary as a rat? Who crawled back into her hole every evening all on her own? This idiot, dying of loneliness, could switch on anything that talks. And who does she find on the answering machine? Her mother, and her mother.
Don't get yourself in such a state.
Don't get yourself in such a state. Who got me in this state in the first place? Look at me. I don't have your refined sensibilities. I'm a lightweight. I have no opinions.
Calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down. What possible reason do I have to calm down? Are you trying to drive me demented? Telling me to calm down? Calm down is the worst thing you can say to someone who's lost her calm. I'm not like you. I don't want to be an authority figure. I don't want to be a point of reference. I don't want to be self-sufficient. I just want to be your friend. Yvonne, the Joker. Yvonne, the Joker.
Can we try to steer clear of pathos?
I finished. Have you got anything to nibble on? Anything just to keep from passing out?
I have some olives.
Hand them over.
Do you want some?
Is there somewhere to put that?
Oh, yeah. Here.
To think that we've reached these extremes, apocalypse, because of a white square,
It is not white.
a piece of white shit. That's what it is. A piece of white shit. Let's face it, girl. What you bought is insane.
Oh no.
Do you have one of your famous felt tips?
What for? You're not going to draw on the painting.
Do you or don't you?
Just a minute. Yeah, it's a blue one.
Give it to me. Go on. Go on.
You're not going to do it.
Come on.
You're driving me mad, both of you.
Well, I'm starving. Shall we eat?
The day after the wedding, at the cemetery, Charlie put his wedding boutonniere and a little bag of sugared almonds on his mother's grave. I slipped away to cry behind a monument. And in the evening, thinking again about this touching tribute, I started silently sobbing in my bed. I absolutely must speak to Finkelson about my tendency to cry. I cry all the time. It's not normal for someone of my age. It started, or at least it clearly revealed itself at Sarah's the evening of the white painting. After Sarah, in an act of pure madness, had demonstrated to Marcy that she cared more about her than she did about her painting. We went and had dinner, chez Emile. Over dinner, Sarah and Marcy made the decision to try to rebuild a relationship destroyed by word and deed. At a certain moment, one of them used the expression trial period. I burst into tears. This expression, trial period, applied to our friendship, and it set off in me an uncontrollable and ridiculous compulsion. In fact, I can no longer bear any kind of rational argument. Nothing formative in the world, nothing great or beautiful in the world has ever been born of rational argument.
When Marcy and I succeeded in obliterating the skier with the aid of Swiss soap with added oxgall, recommended by Paul, I looked at the antrios and turned to Marcy. Did you know that ink from felt tips was washable? No, Marcy said. No. Did you? No, I said, very fast, lying. I came within an inch of saying, yes, I did know. But how could I have launched our trial period with such a disappointing admission? On the other hand, was it right to start with a lie? A lie? Oh, God, let's be reasonable. Why am I so absurdly virtuous? Why does my relationship with Marcy have to be so complicated?
Under the white clouds, the snow is falling. You can't see the white clouds or the snow or the cold or the white glow of the earth. A solitary woman glides downhill on her skis. The snow is falling. It falls until the woman disappears back into the landscape. My friend Sarah, who's one of my oldest friends, has bought a painting. It's a canvas about 5 foot by 4, and it represents a woman who moves across space and disappears.